welcome to the Ended Up in Vegas podcast. I'm Nikki.
I'm Megan.
Our guest today is a great gift to us from the state of Ohio. She is the reason I do Pilates, and she has overcome a great deal of physical challenge by doing Pilates. Our guest today is Diesha Condon. Welcome.
Hello, ladies.
And in fact, it's your second time here because this is the second time we have recorded this podcast with you.
Listen, if anyone understood, it was me, because I know that shit can go crazy in podcasting.
And it did. We ended up not having audio on Diesha's first interview, which was glorious. So we're going to try to recreate it today with you.
It is so hard to recreate the exact same conversation. So we're going to need to maybe drink a little bit more champagne.
Yes.
And ask some new questions.
Yes. We actually have some champagne in our vin glacés today, so that should work out very well. Cheers. All right. So first tell us how you ended up in Vegas.
Okay. So like you mentioned, I'm originally from Ohio. My husband got a job opportunity here 11 years ago. And I had just had my first baby. And I was like, I do not want to live in Las Vegas. Like, we have kids, right? Because I had this idea of what Las Vegas was. I mean, we had been here on vacation several times, but when you come to vacation, you're only on the Strip. Mm-hmm. So he's like, listen, babe, we're going to go. We're only going to go for 2 years. I'm going to get the experience, and then we can move home or we can move wherever you want to go. I'm like, okay, if you've ever had a partner or a spouse who's been unhappy in their job, you just say yes to help them be happy in their job. So I was like, okay, fine. I had moved around the country several times prior to marrying him. So I was like, I'm up for the adventure. Let's just do it. For sure thought it was going to be 2 years and we were going to go out. Here we are, 11 years in.
It's so wild. And so many stories about people moving to Las Vegas sound just like that. Mine was very similar. You think you're going to be here for a short period of time and then you end up staying.
Yeah.
So you're the reason that I'm at Core Pilates. Tell us how you got into doing Pilates and teaching Pilates.
Yes. So during my first pregnancy, I had this really weird thing happening in my left ear. Like I couldn't hear, and like the side of my left face kind of started feeling funny. I went to my OB. I'm like, oh, this must be pregnancy related. And she's like, not really pregnancy related. However, the second I had the baby, the feeling came back, the hearing came back. I was fine. And then on our drive out here, I was really nauseous. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh, I'm just car sick. Like, it's a 33-hour drive from Ohio. I'm certainly just car sick. And my husband looks at me. He's like, oh, shit, you might be pregnant. I was like, no, I couldn't be again. I'm like, we just had a baby. Yep, I was pregnant. And by the second trimester, I couldn't hear out of my left ear again. So in my head, I'm like, okay, obviously this is pregnancy related. I found a new OB out here. I talked to him, and he's like, this is not pregnancy related. Let's send you to an ENT and see and just check. Sure enough, the ENT said, I see something in there. We don't exactly know what's in there. We won't know until we do a surgery. And of course, I'm pregnant. So I waited until after the baby and had an inner ear tumor. So they did surgery. It was pretty gnarly surgery. It lasted almost 5 hours. And they basically cut off the back of your ear, peel your ear off. They chip away all that bone, got the tumor out. And so when you come out of that surgery, because it's your inner ear, you have no balance. It's almost like worse than vertigo. Like you have, and you know, my background was, I was a college cheerleader. So balance was like my thing. I could balance on anything. Right. Yeah. So it was really difficult to come out of that. So I had started a rehab program, and they took me to a facility that had reformers, and they had me doing Pilates to practice my balance. And then 9 months after my first surgery, the tumor grew back. So in my second surgery that I had, they ended up taking my entire eardrum. So now I am completely deaf in my left ear, which, you know, it's an adjustment to learn how to hear things and participate in conversations in really loud environments, but it's a blessing, right? Because my husband snores. I can just put my good ear down, and then my bad ear doesn't hear anything. So I found sort of the glorious part of it.
Right.
But yeah, so that's how I found Pilates. So after that, after my second surgery, I was like, I'm not going to go back to this physical therapy that I'm paying $1 gazillion for. I'm just going to go find a Pilates studio and just do it. Took my very first class, and it was like the most humbling and the most challenging class. I was like, holy shit, I love this. Like it involves like my cheer stunting background, where it's like, it's choreography, it's loud music, it's fun women, like it's hard as shit. I'm like, this is my thing. Like, I can work out to this all day long. Don't take me to like a CrossFit gym. I hate it.
No pushing tires for us, right?
No.
And now Megan's part of the Pilates crew too. So
I've dipped my toe in. I'm not quite where you guys are, but I'm hooked. Like
You better come to my class.
I want to. I feel like I need to progress a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Core's it's the best studio in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It really is. They've got 3 locations, one way up north in Centennial, one in South Summerlin, and then one in Henderson. I work at the Henderson and the South Summerlin one. They just have figured out the formula, right? It's the best instructors. It's very much an athletic Pilates, not necessarily the traditional Joseph Pilates like method. We involve weights and cardio and balance, and you're going to get your ass kicked. It's that meme that you see for Pilates when you walk in, you're like, oh, I'm kind of nervous. What is this? Okay. And then in the middle, you're like, I'm regretting my decision to come here. What did I get myself into? And at the end, you're like, oh my God, that was amazing.
yeah,
That was
exactly.
so good. It's like an hour of an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
It really is. I know, like my first athletic class I took, I was like about 5 minutes in, I was like, mistakes were made. Like maybe I need to do a few more 101s. I need a little more time to progress. And at the very end, it was Michaela, and she was like, "Don't go back."
Oh, girl,
She's
amazing, but she's gonna kick your ass.
At the very end, she
Sail
says,
away.
"Oh, by the way, I think this was my hardest athletic reformer class I've ever done." And I was like, "Oh my God."
yes, but you're gonna go back, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
immediately,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I hated you for 35 minutes in the middle, and now you're my favorite person.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really eye-opening how little strength, especially like I work at a computer a lot, I sit a lot. Like I don't have any core strength at all. And it becomes like, you don't realize how hard it is to go slow and be methodical, and how much like all your body is connected. And I love it.
Okay, so
though.
2 things, Megan. One, this is the positive self-talk area. All right, I'm your hype girl.
Yeah.
You do have core strength.
Yeah.
It is there. You're just practicing it.
Yeah.
You're working on it right now. The second thing is that Pilates, what people don't realize is that people always associate Pilates with yoga. And yoga is amazing. Yoga it's very stretching. It's a mental health. But with Pilates, like you're going to work the teeniest, tiniest muscles, and one little change of maybe turning a toe out or going slower, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, my muscle is shaking from the inside. And I didn't know that I had a muscle underneath my butt.
Yeah.
It works muscles that you didn't know that you have.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I've done yoga on and off for years, but it is very, very different. And you're right.
Yeah.
People do kind of think they're synonymous. They're very different.
Yeah. We're wearing the same clothes, okay,
Yeah,
ladies?
right.
We're wearing the same clothes to yoga that we are to Pilates, but 2 completely different exercises.
Yeah. Well, and when I walk out of yoga, because I do hot yoga, so my clothes are completely soaking wet in a bag, and they need to get home into the wash very quickly.
Yes.
Tell us about the principles of Pilates for people who have never done it before.
Yeah, so Pilates was started by a gentleman named Joseph Pilates. He was born and raised in Germany, actually. And he had started originally of an exercise of like very not like Pilates, but then World War I happened and he got deployed. So he had to then go work with the soldiers, and he ended up helping rehab all the soldiers that were like super injured, super ill, trying to get them back to their normal places. So he actually developed like the first reformer. He was taking springs on hospital beds and using the resistance of their own body weight to help rehab and get their muscles back to normal space.
Wow.
Before the Second World War started, he ended up moving to New York City, met his wife, and then they started working with the ballerinas in New York City. And originally it was all for men. It was only a men's exercise.
That's
Over
wild.
time, we've taken it.
Yeah.
Women have basically taken it. Not that men don't do it, but
Yeah.
his principle, and it wasn't called Pilates, it was called controlology. So it's all around balance, control, centering, breathing, a flow. It's really that connection between your mind and your body. It's learning how to engage every single muscle in a movement while mentally imagining what that muscle is doing and breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth the entire time. So it's a mental game. If you're doing it properly, you'll see results really fast.
Yeah, when I was reading up to it, there's you probably would know this better, but like if there's this quote, I guess, probably from Joseph Pilates, like if you do it for this period of time, like give it this much time, you probably would know better, but this much time, you're going to see a complete change in what, like 3 months
like,
or what? I can't remember what it
In
was.
10 sessions, you will feel a difference. In 20 sessions, you will see a difference. In 30 sessions, everyone will be asking you, oh my God, what are you doing?
I can see that. It's challenging but fun, and not a way where you feel like you're going to drop dead, even though sometimes you feel like you're going to drop dead.
Yeah. You know, the beautiful thing, and I have to commend Core because they do such a good job of auditioning for new instructors, is that we're all so very different. We all have a very different way. We all have very different personalities in how we teach. So no matter what class you come to, you're never going to do the same flow. You're not going to have the same energy. Everyone has different cueing. So you have a different experience, which is so different than going to like a HIIT gym where they're like 30 reps of this, 20 reps of that. I hate those gyms because I'm just like, I know what's coming and I know I'm going to die. With Pilates, you're going to die, but you don't know what's coming.
Right. You don't know until you go to sit down on the toilet the next day.
Oh my gosh.
You're like, oh,
Damn it, Diesha, those lunges were a bitch.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, exactly.
I was really sore after a workout recently, and I don't remember it being particularly challenging, but like my glutes, like down the kind of middle, were so sore. I was like not even out of bed yet, and I was like, I don't even remember it being that challenging, but I must have just hit a muscle that doesn't get any use at all. And
Or
I was
you
like,
were doing it properly. You had the right form. You were breathing right. You were squeezing, engaging where you were supposed to.
breathing is hard for me.
Yeah, and that's where Pilates is. You have to match the movement with the breath to make it that much more advantageous. And then you see how when you change the breath, when you change how you're inhaling or exhaling on a certain, the same move works totally different muscles, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So your diaphragm sits behind your abdominals. So when someone explained it to me like this, I learned how to breathe after this. It was like, find a pattern of breath that works for you and continue to focus on that breath. Because as you're inhaling and you're expanding your diaphragm and then exhaling and it's deflating your diaphragm, you're working your abdominals from the inside at the same time as the outside. So I was like, well, I better get this breathing shit figured out because I need my abs back, you know? Yeah.
This is going well. We talked about the same thing.
And the conversation is flowing just the same. I think it might be because we added champagne to this podcast.
It is. It's like, please, podcast gods,
We're not with us. We're not going to overthink this. I mean, one thing I've noticed, and I don't know if it's because I'm just broken, but like I'll be in the class and she's like, you know, breathe out, and I'm always the opposite. And I'm like, I'm trying so hard to concentrate. There was a class I was in recently, and I was like trying so hard to get on the breathing rhythm in and out with what I was doing, and I couldn't do it.
You know, start with this. It doesn't work for every exercise, but a good rule of thumb is when the springs are expanding and coming out, you're exhaling.
Yeah.
And when they're coming back in, you're inhaling. Like I said, it doesn't work for everything, but it is a good place to start to try to learn it.
Because you want to be breathing out while you're pushing, right? Like, and I always end up being like the reverse. I don't know why. And like breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth.
Listen, if you're breathing, you're doing something, all right? Because I don't know how many times in class people are like turning red in the face. I'm like, guys, stop holding your breath. You're not going to get a workout. Stop holding your breath.
Well, and that's happened to me. She's like, okay, now breathe out. And I'm like, oh, I have to breathe.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't even realize you've forgotten and you've stopped breathing and you're holding your breath, concentrating on what you're doing. I was like, oh, yes, I have to breathe.
There's a really interesting book if you are... you don't even have to be in this world. It's one of the most interesting books I've ever read. It's by James Nestor. It's called Breath. And basically it's a study of when him and his friend go through this whole entire breath exercise where they, for like 6 weeks, they plug their noses and they become mouth breathers for 6 weeks. But throughout the whole process, they've done like blood work and they've done a full entire physical. They've taken them through like treadmill runs to test to see what their endurance is. Because mouth breathing is really bad. So they go through this whole process, and it talks about how breathing improperly will affect your health. Everyone has asthma today. Everyone has these adenoids being taken out all the time. It even is related to like the shape of the roof of your mouth and the way, you know, we all have braces now. Well, we didn't always have to have braces because we were breathing properly. So the roof of our mouth was wider.
Interesting.
It's such an interesting book. And I was like, I turned into like a total nerd after this. I was telling everyone, I'm like, you got to read this book. You got to learn how to breathe properly. Because if not, you're going to be sick as an older person. In through the nose, out through the mouth.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I find that I have to consciously like re-regulate myself all the time. Like if I'm starting to feel like anxiety kick in and stress or, you know, just not like feeling, I'm very headache prone. So feeling like a headache is coming on, I'm like, okay, reset your breath here. Like, and it's not just take deep breaths, because I think that people think, okay, take a deep breath, but no, it's like you need to regulate your nervous system with your breath.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what you need to power your body for doing.
It's got to be one of the hardest things ever to teach somebody, especially someone like my age, I'm in my 40s, to relearn how to breathe, because it's such a natural thing. Like, you just do it.
Yeah.
You don't even know that you're doing it. It's unconscious, right? But like learning how to breathe properly, that's just a forever practice for me now. But I do constantly in my car. I'm like, okay, am I breathing right?
Yeah.
Right? Am I holding my breath? Am I holding my tension? Now all of a sudden, like, if your neck gets tense or you need a massage, you're like, I probably haven't been breathing because I'm stressed.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think there's so much to breathing. And if you get into, and I think I mentioned this last time, but you get into like neurobiology, there's a lot of like, if you deal with anxiety or if you have, you know, like for PTSD, there's certain things that you can do in breathing. There's breath work. There's different types of techniques that you can use to kind of get your nervous system under control. And they're all very connected.
Yeah. I mean, meditation is something that I wish to goodness I learned, or I knew how to meditate, because it just seems like something that would be so beneficial for my like mental well-being. It's challenging because my brain is firing all the time, right? And unfortunately, it always happens like right at night, right? You lay your head down, and you're like, oh, what about this and this and this and this, or this idea, or I got to do this, or I got to do this, right? So meditation, I think, would be something that I wish I learned how to practice. Do you remember we went to that breath work thing?
Yeah, we went to an Area 15 event where they did like a breath work workshop. And, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not just taking deep breaths. It's actually like, talking yourself through the rest of what you need to do, because I'm like, from yoga, I am a long, slow breather. And so sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm going too slow. So I need to like actually increase my inhale and exhale pace to keep up with whatever movement's going on in Pilates too. But it's the same thing. It's like, if I need to do something really quick, wrap something up with work or something, like, it's like, okay, like, let's get the cylinders firing. Let's breathe a little differently. Like,
yeah, they had us doing some crazy breathing. It was the coolest experience. It was Area 15. If you haven't been to Area 15, you need to go. It's like one of the coolest new immersive art places here in Vegas. But they had us doing those like,
like Lamaze style.
It was Lamaze, but it was like to like, I hate saying this, it's not a derogatory thing, but like very like hippie, like granola, like, you know, the sounds, the smells were going, the lights were going. It was like, you were just, I mean, you said that was meditation. I'm sure we were probably doing a form of meditation.
Yeah. Well, and that book, going back to the book that you were talking about, I think they talk about exhalation and all of the toxins that you release when you exhale.
Yes.
So big part of it. Okay. So you mentioned Area 15. I know you are like fun in a bottle. Diesha does so many fun things. You go all the places with your boys. Tell us a little bit about your family and how you guys adventure through life.
Yeah, for sure. So I have two little boys. They are 9 and 11, almost going to be 10. Time really flies. It's crazy. In case I think about like, these kids are growing up in Las Vegas. You guys have no idea. You're like in the, the playground of the world, all of the fun things. So yeah, I think by nature, my husband and I love to find something new to do all the time. I'm not a person of, although I am fairly type A, maybe not as bad as you guys.
I don't know if I'm offended or
It only took you 20 minutes to move the camera a smidge of an inch, so it's exactly perfect.
A little bit that way.
Listen, this makes you good at your jobs. Honestly, I appreciate it about you. So I would say yes, in general, like I am very type A, but I love to be spontaneous and be like, hey, I heard about this place, maybe we should go. My husband's always down. He's like, sure, okay, that's great. My kids have no idea how good they have it.
Yeah.
Every weekend, we try to seek out something new, something fun. And, going back to what I said, like, I had this idea of what living in Vegas was going to be. And if you only come here and you only experience the Strip, that's the only thing that you see. Right. From a local standpoint, like, just the outdoors, the hiking that you can do, incredible. And there's a lot of kid-friendly things to do here. There's that place. We had my kids, this might have been his 9th birthday. It's in Planet Hollywood called Climb Vegas. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's like in the middle of this multi-level mall, and they have like a ropes course.
Yeah.
In the middle of the Strip. So here I am taking 12, 8 and 9-year-olds down to the Las Vegas Strip. Yeah. I mean, how much fun is that? You know, my kids have been on party buses.
Yeah.
Now that Las Vegas has sports, they've been to NFL games. Like
Yeah.
I didn't go to an NFL game until I was in my 20s.
There's so many opportunities here. My kids and I have been to Climb Vegas, and I don't know if you're afraid of heights, but I was like, all about it. We got in the harnesses and we get up and I get to the top level and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to hang out here and wait for you guys.
Yeah. I'm just going to watch.
And my daughter, like, she calls it, whenever we go to a park, she calls it her stupid high. She wants to get to the stupid high spot.
Oh, yeah.
She's not afraid of heights. She'll go find the tallest place. So she was all up in there, and my son and I think we lasted about 5 minutes when we're like, okay, we're going to hang out here and wait for you. But it's so, like, we did the same thing. We took pictures on the strip. We ended up at Holstein's across the bridge.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're playing tourists. Like, we have so much like right out of our back door that we can do.
It really is amazing. And we have the best kids parks here.
Yes.
Like in Ohio, the parks are the exact same little playground setup. It's the same thing, different neighborhood, right? Here, they're like incredible.
Yeah.
The parks that are in the Southwest, at Mountain's Edge, they have the coolest parks. Have you seen that one where there's like the Pringles, like sitting
my
inside
kids call
the
that
net?
the potato chip park.
We call it the Pringle climb.
There's these like plastic things that they get in, and then there's one up in Summerlin that's like the zip line park.
Is that what it's called? Fox?
Yeah, I think it's like Foxleaf or one of those
Something
parks
like
that's like
that.
right up off of Alta. And they actually have literal zip lines. The kids can get on them and go.
Yes.
It's a huge park. It's kind of stressful if you have little kids because there's a lot of places for them to go.
Yeah.
But they really, like, especially Summerlin has thought really long and hard about how to like kind of
Yes.
program their parks to put some really cool stuff in there.
Really cool things. We did this really fun thing. We told the kids, okay, we're going to play one day of hooky. We're going to skip school, and you guys are going to choose where we're going, what we're doing, what we're eating the entire day. And mommy's not allowed to say no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we went to that park.
Oh, my gosh.
It was the funnest thing because one of his friends was like, oh, there's a park that's somewhere far away from where we are because we're all the way like southwest Henderson. But it was the funnest day, and we just explored the whole entire city. We went to the places that normally we wouldn't drive to because it's not like within our little triangle, you know? Yeah.
Where did they pick to eat?
Pizza.
Yeah.
My kids love
They're the pizza bros. They have
are
to
the
choose
Pizza Brothers.
pizza.
So they have their own little Instagram account called the Pizza Brothers.
Do they really?
And we
I
do
love
pizza
this.
reviews, and they do the pizza reviews.
Yeah.
Do
So
they? Okay.
say where we are, what the pizza is, and whether they
I'm
like it or
fascinated
don't like
by
it.
I love it.
When we go on vacations, they do the little Pizza Brother reviews. It is the cutest thing. It's funny because it was my older one's idea one night. We used to do Grimaldi's every single Friday night. And it was his idea. He was like, we should be doing reviews so these people invite us back and they can give us pizza. It has happened though. Now people are like, hey, have the Pizza Brothers come in and we'll give you, because they're very plain kids. They want a pepperoni and cheese pizza. I'm the only one that will like venture out. But yeah, we do pizza a lot in our house. This is why I have to do as much Pilates as I do.
Do they have a favorite pizza place now, or is it still Grimaldi's?
Is always a pretty fan favorite for them. Pizza Rock, it's good
Green
because
Valley
that's
Ranch,
like one of my
so
favorite
good.
ones. And then Good Pie downtown.
Yes.
You guys had Good Pie?
I haven't.
I haven't had that one. I was thinking of a different one, but yeah.
Okay,
Is that good?
Pie is downtown, the Arts District. It's on Main Street, and it's like some of the best pizza ever.
Interesting.
That's your next little girl day date.
Yeah, we should have gone there yesterday.
I know. We were having, do not put two hungry Geminis in a car that, trying to figure out where they want to eat.
It was bad. We
Don't
left.
put any two hangry people together and try to figure out where to eat. Is this not everyone's argument? I mean, it's girlfriend's argument.
Yeah.
It's a husband-wife arguments.
Yeah.
So where did you guys end up eating?
We didn't.
We didn't. We gave up after an hour of like really failing
Guys,
downtown.
there's even like that. God, there's so many places.
I know. Well, we went
Not at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Oh,
we were kind of in between lunch and dinner. The place we were.
Esther's wasn't open.
We went there.
Yeah.
Closed.
No, they said we're full.
We can't.
At 2:00 in the afternoon on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, where do you eat in Las Vegas? What podcast is going to answer this question?
I couldn't believe how many, I don't know if it's always been this way, but I could not believe how many restaurants don't open until 5:00. And I know that like that's a thing for certain restaurants, but like almost everything was like, well, she's like, what about this? And what about this?
A lot changed after the pandemic. And I
Yes.
think hiring has been a challenge. And it's not just in Las Vegas. I think it's nationwide. And so a lot of restaurants were like, the cost to open up during the day is just not making sense anymore. And we're only going to do nighttime. Listen, I still have hope that our world's going to go back to normal.
Yeah.
Me too.
Or they close on the day that they're least busy. And it's like the most random day that you go and you expect to eat there.
Yeah.
You mentioned a really great restaurant the first go around that I want you to talk about again.
Yes.
It's a very good hidden gem in Las Vegas that not everyone knows about.
Yeah, so it's very nostalgic. And after I told you guys, I kind of regretted it because the more I tell people, everyone's going to go take my hidden spot.
Yeah.
No, it's not really my hidden spot. So we live in this incredible community with a whole bunch of people who are very like-minded with the same age kids. And then during the pandemic, we all just started hanging out together, partying together. So about once a month, we will get a party bus and we will find a new restaurant to go to. And we always try to find like dancing or something very interactive to do after dinner. And this was how this whole thing was born. This first time we got this huge party bus, there were like 20 something of us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And we went to the Italian American Club. And it is kind of in the middle of old Vegas, and it is very nostalgic. I'm talking like your server might be 100. The bartender is going to be 87.
Yeah.
They've been working there since forever. But the greatest thing about it's a supper club.
Yeah.
So there is a bar area with a stage, and there's always live music all the time. And then there's like a theater-ish room where there's a stage and there's live performers. And they'll bring back like old Vegas performers, but everyone is dressed to the nines. I'm talking like sequins gowns, like 80s things. The guys are in 3-piece suits with the chains on. They got all the rings on. It's very mafia.
Yeah.
So we get all dressed up. I mean, I'm talking Hollywood glam.
That's amazing.
And we go have dinner. It's Italian food. It's moderately priced, but there's always like the best entertainment. And talk about people watching. You're like, what do you do for a living? And where did you buy your dress?
Yeah, at a consignment shop where
Yes.
someone who just thought that it was not in style anymore brought it
Yes.
from like 1992 when I would have outfits like professionally made from the sequin maker who made all of the from all of the costumes from like the shows. And because I was a cheerleader at UNLV, like growing up, they made
Wait a minute,
all of
hold
our
on,
costumes.
stop real quick. You were a cheerleader at UNLV?
Yeah. Well, no, little kid. Like, so it's the UNLV
I was like,
Starlets
I'm
was
gonna
the
need
group.
pictures.
There are a lot of pictures. There are a lot of pictures.
Okay,
Bright
okay.
red lip, big,
Okay.
lots of curls.
Do you
in
still
the
have
hair.
any of those clothes?
I
'Cause
do.
You could wear this
Yeah.
to the Italian American Club.
No, they're little. I have them. They're like, I
Oh.
think, I tapped out at like 9. So it, started to fade as UNLV started to fade. We were there during the heyday. But no, so a lot of like the outfits that I remember when the Mirage opened, actually, we talked about this. My dad had a full on like outfit made for me. By the like costume maker who did everything
How
with like
fun is
crazy
that?
amounts of sequins. But going back to the Italian American Club, so there's a whole stage, like set it up for people who
Okay.
have never seen it before.
So it's very old. This place has never been renovated. Okay, so you're walking back into like maybe the 60s.
Yeah.
Everything's dark wood. There are pictures of every celebrity in the world, signed pictures all over the little lobby area. You're going to be greeted by a very old gentleman. He is going to be dressed to the nines. I mean, he still has all his necklaces on. He's got his rings on. He's got his 3-piece, I'm talking pinstripe suit.
Oh my gosh.
He will greet you. You'll walk past this beautiful long bar that has like a couple of high tops. There's always live performances. And then you'll turn right. And then there's this huge room with all these round tables. And there's performances that will go on for 2 hours. But like in between the sets, people get up and dance. Like people move the chairs around. Like no matter what, it's an old way of going to dinner, and then you get up with your person and you might dance, and then it turns lively. And at the end of the night, they like move all the tables off of the dance floor, and it's a full party, and it's all walks of life. You're gonna see the craziest people from like every single generation.
yeah, it's old, but it's not gross. Like it's
Oh no, it's not gross. No,
it's
that's
definitely older, but it's like got the nostalgic feeling and
Yes.
not the like, oh, we're in this old place.
Yes.
Because I remember going there for like frat parties in college.
Really? Listen, they have some of those old back rooms. They're like, listen, the mafia is still in Vegas. And
Yeah.
they're back there doing a deal right now.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we should actually come up with a like Henderson off, campus for the Italian American Club and
Listen, you're always coming up with new business ideas. You are always opening up a new business, a new concept, taking that concept, moving
love
it
it.
down. I'm in.
Okay, good.
I'm still part of my plan to get adopted into an Italian American family. So once
perfect.
that happens, then we'll
Yeah.
then we'll start it.
Listen, you could also find a sugar daddy there. Yeah. 100,000. We've said it. There's been like groups of like I'd say middle-aged, beautiful women dressed up, whatever. I'm like, oh no, they're coming here to find themselves a man.
Yeah.
This is happening.
You don't go there as a man unless you're planning on wearing 2 buttons undone.
Okay.
And a little, little,
Yes,
little
gold chains encouraged.
I love this. And the thing I love about it, at least what I think I love about it, is the multi-generational aspect, because like I come from, my ex-husband's like Hispanic, and the East Coast is very different from Vegas, at least in like the nightclub industry and stuff. And so we would go out with family and there would be 80-year-olds out dancing salsa, and like, it's just a very multi-generational, multicultural kind of thing. And it always like, I loved it. I loved watching it. It was the best people watching. So I think this is going to be my jam.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Vegas is good about that because people don't grow old the same way that they do in other places. Like I'm from Ohio and I love Ohio. Ohio will always have my heart, but people live the same lives, right? The same stage of life is in the same suburb. You're going to the same bar, you're going to the same restaurant, and you age the same. Las Vegas, like I've got clients that come to Pilates that are 84 years old and they come 5 days a week.
That's amazing.
Like you go out and you see people like, no, they're in their 70s and they're still dressing up on Friday night to go check out, what's all the hype about this new restaurant, or like there's a dancing lounge, we're going. Like, you see everything in Vegas.
I love that.
Yeah. I want to be one of those old women who
You will be.
changes their name and like
Listen,
I'm going to be Summer after 70.
There's going to be a first name only.
Yeah, I'm going to just share.
no, did you guys see Britney Spears? Britney Spears just changed her name to River Red.
Oh, no, I hadn't seen that.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, she has changed her name. So just don't do that, Nikki.
No. Okay, so you live in West Henderson, Anthem area.
Yep.
Tell us, okay, so you get on the party bus. You guys went to even like wine country once, right?
We did. So like I said, these group of friends are just so much fun. They're always coming up with ideas. We have a list of so many nights out that we're going to have. I'm like, we don't have enough months in the year to do all of these things. But yeah, so one time we ordered a charter bus. I'm talking a charter bus. There was a kitchen in the back. There was bathrooms on it. And we drove all the way down to Temecula, California, and did a whole wine weekend. And then as hungover as you could be. Like you're just sweating wine. Got back on the charter bus and it brought us all back home. It was the best time.
How many neighbors do you think you guys have in this group? Like 25, 30, it sounds like?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I hear about these like little pocket neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And I know like Inspirada is not terribly far from you. They're very much like, there's a big community there. So you're in the south part of West Henderson?
I'm in Madeira Canyon.
Okay.
So it's so funny. When people come to visit me, they're like, holy shit, you live in California.
Yeah.
You live so far away.
Yeah.
And so when we first moved here, we lived in Southern Highlands because my girlfriend lived there. And I loved Southern Highlands for the purpose of the location and access to things, right? Like you can get to Summerlin in 20 minutes, you can get to Henderson in 20 minutes, you can get to there. Everything is right there. We ended up building like an American West home that was just outside of Southern Highlands. In retrospect, I was so stupid. Why did I not consider school districts, right? And then all of a sudden I started looking at school districts. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
We cannot live here. So, we started looking, and my realtor friend at the time took us up to Madeira Canyon. I was like, this is so far away. There is just no way. And she's like, what you're describing, you're from Ohio. You want to know all your neighbors. You want a community of friends. You want to have a clubhouse that has events that brings all the people together. You're the party. You want the party. This is where you're going to be. I'm like, it's too far. We looked for like a year. It was insane. Because in Southern Highlands, we rented for the first couple of years. I went out of my way to meet neighbors and could not meet anybody. I mean, I did the old Midwest thing. I brought cookies. I was like, do you want me to walk your dog? I have 2 dogs. Like I was trying my best to make friends. Couldn't make a friend. Moved to Madeira Canyon. The clubhouse had like I think it was like a camp out. They do it a couple times a year where all the people bring the tents up to the lawn and everyone builds the tents. The kids play. The parents all drink. After that night, I was like, oh my God. I was like, Chris, we've lived here for 4 years now. I think it was like 4 years when we moved. I was like, I have 30 friends. I all of a sudden have 30 friends.
Yeah, just like that.
Just like that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And speaking of realtors, the psychology that she picked up on to identify what you were looking for and help you find it is a gift.
We thought that we were going to be closer to like Green Valley because we were like honed in on like school districts, and through word of mouth, people were like, oh, these are the schools that you want to stay in. You want to be locked into this. So that's where we were going. But the more and more we kept looking around, I was like, I love the access to the district. I love the access to 215 where I can get anywhere. But shit, these houses need to be gutted. And for the price, I'm like, oh my God, we have to stay within our budget. So, and then, you know, Chris went through the whole mindset of like, do we just stay where we are and then pay for private school? Or do we take the money and invest it in the home and stick with public schools? So that's what we ended up doing. We bought the big house, stayed in public schools, and kind of landlocked ourselves all the way up on the top of the hill. So now it takes us 30 minutes to get everywhere.
But you're pretty integrated into the neighborhood and the community.
Yeah. You guys will know this. There's like a triangle philosophy, right? Like it's like when you're looking for a new home, where are you commuting to? Like whether it's work, like grocery, like your whatever your hobby is. Let's say it's Pilates. Like you want to be like within I don't remember what it is. It's like a radius mile of the triangle. I got my triangle is dialed in. And there's so much building happening around me now that I'm like, okay, more things are coming out here. We're getting more things. Now they're building this huge casino in Inspirata. I'm like, I was excited about things, and now I'm like, oh shit, traffic is going to be a nightmare.
Well, you have a lot more too. Like, how long have you been out there?
We moved up there into March of 2017.
Okay. So you've seen it change a lot.
Oh, it was a dirt road that went from the M Casino all the way to Madeira Canyon. Like Inspirata did not exist.
Yeah.
So now it is just, I'm like, hey, for the people in the back, we're running out of water. How are we still building?
Yeah.
How?
Because we recycle all of it. That's how we get away.
This is why when you fill your bathtub up, your water is yellow.
Yeah. We need to check your faucet.
Yeah, that might be a your house situation.
Listen, we are not drinking this water.
We need to tell Chris it's time to do your bathroom remodel right
Thank you.
now.
Yes. Please talk him into this. I just want you to do my bathroom remodel. You know, the problem is like we bought this house and it needed a lot of work. Like it was not loved for a long time. And my husband's handy, thank goodness. So he did do a lot of the work himself. But like that first 3 years, it was just like dumping money into this renovation. We just haven't touched the upstairs. So the downstairs looks perfect. The upstairs is like, oh, we just stepped back to 2006.
Yeah.
Don't you think, like, I know for me, like, I get fatigue at a certain point and like, I've done all the things and there's other things I need to do, but you kind of just walk past it. Like, I know I need to do something with that, but like, I've already invested so much in it. I don't have the energy to do anymore, or I have to psych myself up for.
I am so opposite. I'm like, my list of things I want to do to my house, it just keeps growing and growing. And we're doing a girls trip. You guys should be doing this too. We're going to go. It's the end of February. We're driving to St. George. We're going to do the whole parade of homes.
Oh, so are we.
So are we.
We've already made
Are
the plan.
you?
We'll
Yes.
meet you there.
Oh my God, it's my favorite thing. But like last year we went and I came home and I was like, Chris, I fucking hate our house. I want to start all over. Like, I want this kind of cabinet now, and I want this tile. And like, everything changed. My whole house is white, and everything is going brown now.
So that's when I just buy a new house and I move and I renovate that.
That's so funny. Well, by the time this episode comes out, we'll probably be together in St. George for the Parade of Homes, which we feel like, Megan and I feel like we should have our own Parade of Homes in Las Vegas.
Should. Why don't we have a Parade of Homes? You guys should start it here in Vegas.
We should. Another business idea.
I've been saying this for at least 5 or 7 years that we should have a Parade of Homes.
So what is holding you up? I will help you promote this.
Okay.
Calling all investors.
Yes. Let's go to the Italian American Club, find some sugar daddies, and we'll invest in the business.
Yes.
All right. We're on it.
Yeah. I love like the Italian guy who's like, what can I do for you? Like, you know. Have you lived here long enough, do you feel like, to remember things that used to be here and aren't anymore that you miss?
No, I can't say that I have that, but I can have a new appreciation for all the sports teams that are here now.
Yeah.
Coming from the Midwest, sports is a very big part of lifestyle and fan base is huge and people are very proud. So no, I can just say that like I love Las Vegas. I don't see us ever moving out of Las Vegas. I think the access to the best restaurants in the world and the entertainment that we have and the fact that we are positioned in a place where we can get to Utah in 2 hours and we can get to LA in 4 hours and I can get to Phoenix in 5 hours. Like we're such positioned in a place that's so great, but I did miss sports when I first moved here. So now that we have, the Oakland A's are apparently coming, NBA might be coming. We have hockey now. We've got football. Like that for me gives me such I think Vegas has changed in terms of like people have a sense of pride about Vegas, and it's not, I don't think it's as transient as it was when I first moved here.
No,
I would agree with you on that. I remember that was sort of a perception, not just a perception. It was really a fact. It was very transient. And sometimes I hear that and I'm like, I don't think that's really a thing anymore. I don't know a lot of people. I mean, of course people come and go, but I don't think we're losing as many people as come. I think people are planting roots here. Maybe they didn't intend to. They realize how much there is to love about it and how great and convenient it is to live here. And we do have, like, I say this all the time, like, I think you could go out to eat almost every night of the week and never eat at every restaurant, or you go broke before.
My list is ever growing.
Yeah.
I have my list of all the new places I want to go is it's endless.
Yes.
So where are you going on a Sunday when the weather is wonderful, blue sky? Give us a vivid profile of what you and your family are doing.
So Sunday is the one day where we have all family all in. So because we have the best weather ever, I mean, it's a little cold right now, but we're always trying to find something outside. So we're taking the kids to the park, or we're going on a hike. Or there's like a neighborhood party and we're all at the clubhouse lawn and we're BYOBing our champagne or our wine. The kids are all playing. We're trying to get outdoors because in Ohio, 6 months out of the year, it's freezing cold. You're never outside ever. We really enjoy and appreciate the big blue skies and the weather that we can play in December in, a sweatshirt and light pants.
Mm-hmm.
And don't you think it's funny? We're like, it's so cold. And then you're like, it's 50 degrees outside. And
yeah, but people don't expect it to be this cold in Vegas. And then we're like, yeah, it's 37 degrees this morning when I woke up.
Yeah.
So
the desert's tricky like that. We're going to go from 115 in July.
Yeah.
But come January, when you wake up, it's 32.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have ice on my driveway from snow the other day.
Oh my God, snow in Vegas is the funnest day. Everyone like loses their mind. The memes come out, everyone's like videoing it. I'm like, it's so funny when everyone's like, oh my God, it's snow. Like you've never seen it, people.
Yeah, no, we will rebuild.
Nikki was like, okay, it's day one and it's gone. I'm ready for it to go. And I was like, it's like 24 hours.
Yeah, no, my
Didn't you just want to stay in your house though and like watch movies and like stay in your pajamas and like have hot soup?
Yes, always when it's cold. But we didn't get snow where I live, which is unusual. Usually it's my side of town, like on the hills of Summerlin, where we get snow. We didn't really have any.
Yeah. Well, how do Las Vegans respond to snow when they see it falling?
Yes.
We become like pretend weathermen.
Yes.
At least I know I do. I'm out there. I have people who make fun of me, but they're like, "Oh, go take some video of the rain." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
It's raining. It's raining.
And I'm gonna document it."
Yes.
But this is exactly what I did. I was like, "Oh, it's raining. Why is the rain falling so slowly?" And then I'm like, oh, totally just like, wait, that's not rain. That's that thing called snow.
We don't even know how to recognize it. Like it's really floating down.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? That's some weird rain.
It's like the one time a year. So I tease my mom all year long because she's still in Ohio. And I'm like, hey, Mom, it'll be like November and it's still like 60 here, How's the weather? She's like, I hate you. It's snowing here, you brat. And I'm like, one time it's snowing here. It's like 60 degrees in Ohio. And she's like, how's the snow treating you?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. You don't have to shovel sunshine.
Exactly.
That's so funny. Well, thank you so much for being here again.
Thanks for having me round two.
Yeah, yes. I am so happy that we got to touch. I feel like we touched on all the things that we talked about in the first episode.
And it flowed okay.
Yeah.
Girls, cheers to
I
that.
mean, we're getting better here. Cheers. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.